Unexpected trouble? CashNet USA can take the stress out of borrowing emergency funds. Our fast, secure application process makes it easy to apply online 24/7. Plus, CashNet USA offers same-day funding if approved before 10:30 a.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday. Additional terms may apply. Visit CashNetUSA.com or tap the banner to apply today.
Live from multiple locations via the miracle of Skype, it's the LTN Hour. Let's talk NASCAR with your host, Todd Bailing. Co-host, Ed Kaluka. Featuring dangerous Dan Margetta and Brian Schmidt. LTN is a caller-driven program, and your participation is encouraged by calling 414-421-7901. That's 414-421-7901. Now, the creator and host of the fastest hour in radio, Todd Bailing.
And right here, live from the Valley of the Sun, we're expecting mid-80s and sunshine today for the final event of the year for the NASCAR Cup Series here in lovely Phoenix, Arizona. Nice of you to join us. Two of my three partners are here in Arizona. Not Ed Kaluka of West Bend, Wisconsin, though. Ed, we miss you.
I missed you guys, too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
However, Dan Margetta and Brian Schmidt are visiting this week, and it sounds like you guys are having a good time. Brian, I'm not sure your wife and daughter are.
Yeah, they're hanging out. They're not home and they're on vacation, and there's a warm pool, so they're good.
Oh, it's all good that way. It's been fun.
Yeah, I mean, we've had quite a bit going on this weekend, really, with all the races, all the people we've seen. I mean, there's a lot of people from back home that are down here, either in NASCAR or living here in Arizona, and it's pretty cool to catch up with them all. And it's gonna be a great day today.
When you figure you've gone almost a year and a half, if not even a little longer, since you had a full race weekend where everything was wide open like it is here. You really haven't seen a lot of people. Most of the races this year have been the guys show up on the morning of, they go through tech and they race. Here the Cup guys have been here all 3 days, so you've had time to get out there, and there's been enough time because they only had one practice to be able to mingle and talk to people. So it's been great.
It is the Hendrick Gibbs Showdown. The 5 car of Kyle Larson and the 9 car of Chase Elliott versus the 11 car of Denny Hamlin and the 19 car of Martin Truex. Way back when we were picking our final fours, all 4 of us agreed on one driver, and that would be Kyle Larson in the 5 car. Both Ed, Dan, and Brian all took the 9 car to be in the final 4, and I did not. However, I'm the only one of the 4 of us that had Martin Truex in the final 4. So, gentlemen, I don't know. It's going to be kind of hard to pick against the 5 car today, I would think, right? I mean, we think it's pretty much a slam dunk, even though, NASCAR is pretty famous at having these cars finish in the top 4.
Well, I mean, if you look at the whole season, he's won 9 races. I mean, this has been Kyle Larson's dominant year. He's okay at this place. I mean, he ran okay in the spring here. It's not one of his best tracks, but Kyle Larson is good pretty much anywhere, and he's just got that ability to find speed in the car no matter where you're at. So, yeah, I'd say he's the favorite. Chase Elliott won this race last year, and they've had a pretty strong playoff run so far. Denny Hamlin's been one of the best cars on these types of tracks all season long. Same with Martin Truex, who won here in the spring pretty handily. So if you look statistically, the 4 guys that are in the top final 4 are your 4 best performing cars at a track like this. So to really give an edge to one or the other overwhelmingly, I don't think I can do that. But based on the whole season and the way that's come down, I can't see that 5 car letting it slip away.
That's exactly right. Speaking of the 5 car, he won his 10th career pole. Yes, they actually qualified for this race. 137.847 miles an hour. Kyle Larson earned the pole. The top 3 cars are all Hendrick cars. Chase Elliott starts 2nd. William Byron starts 3rd. I mean, talk about Hendrick domination. Now, there were some problems with cars trying to make it through pre-qualifying inspection yesterday, and 3 of the 4 the four championship cars lost their crew chiefs after not making it through 3 times. It's absolutely amazing, including Wisconsin's Jesse Saunders, who was the car chief for the number 5 car, and Jesse is not going to be participating today. I wonder if they'll let him come back out for pictures later if Kyle Larson actually wins the thing. But the 2 Toyotas also did not make it through, and their car chiefs have been sent home. Gentlemen, we think we know the area of the greatest concern. Would we say that?
Yeah, it looked like it when they were pushing them back through the right rear or left rear quarter panel area there around the fender flares were all sanded and buffed on all these cars as they were coming, the cars that didn't make it through tech. So my guess would be they were having to massage that area. The optical scanner probably saw something they didn't like. You're talking, fractions of a millimeter here is what they're looking.
No kidding.
I think that's what it was.
And,
didn't affect them qualifying, though. I mean, if you look the way qualifying ran, they made a statement, that 5 car did. I mean, it was 2 laps. Chase Elliott went up there, set a pretty quick lap early on, and it was at the top. The 11 and the 19 tried, couldn't top that. They were about top 10, close. But the 5 car went out and did 1 lap and one and done, and it was enough. It reminded me of the old 48 car. When the 48 team would always do that, Jimmy Johnson in those days, they'd just come out and make a statement, and bam, you'd be like, wow, these guys really got it. 1 lap and they're out. And watching Kyle's qualifying run, he set that lap up coming to the green flag on that run. He was high, kind of like on a dirt thing where you run the cushion to get the momentum going into the corner to take the flag and get the run started. I saw him do that, and that seemed to really pay off.
That dirt track experience, pretty amazing stuff. All right, so the race will be televised in Milwaukee today on NBC Channel 4. It will be streamed on Peacock, so you can watch it pretty much wherever you are. I'm going to guess that there are paid and non-paid Peacock apps, Dan, but this probably, since it's on NBC, is going to be a free view on streaming. Am I guessing right here?
I would say you're right. That's probably it. I mean, it's just a way to get more people on that streaming. If you have no way, if you're not home and you can't watch your TV, you can also get it, through a streaming broadcast. I think Fox does the same thing on some of their deals too. I've seen. So I would have guessed it would be a free one on Peacock, and as a way to kind of introduce that platform out there to say, hey, this is available for other things in the future.
The green flag is
at $49. $49 a year, or $4.95 a month.
For the stuff that you pay for, but there's a free version of it also.
Yes, you're right.
So
I'm just saying that's
live on TV.
Right. Okay. The green flag is at 2:34 Central Standard Time today. It is not going to be on the Big 920 today. You'll be able to find it on the website as the Admirals are going to be on the Big 920. It will be. You can find it. We'll probably have more details on a spot before the end of the program, but on the website is where you're going to find it here today. As we mentioned, Kyle Larson starting from the pole, and this has been an interesting week. We were to the press conference that had all 4 of the championship drivers this past Thursday. Interesting. It seems like Denny Hamlin is embracing his role as the bad guy. He certainly, after last week's Martinsville race, where, yes, I know Bowman hit him and took him out. And yes, there's a little too much of that going around. We all agree. But, try to have just a little bit of class, maybe a little class like Austin Hendrick had last night when he couldn't have been more disappointed to lose the championship in the last couple of 100 feet in the Xfinity Series race. And did he get out and bitch about getting hit and all that? No, he wasn't spun out like old Denny was last week. But then Denny has to go and take away from the kids victory lane and then call him an absolute hack on national television, even though the kid who he called a hack has twice the amount of wins that Denny Hamlin has this year. He still called him an absolute hack. This has been good for Alex Bowman. Brian, it sounds as though Mr. Bowman made some money on the deal this week.
Yeah, he did. I mean, we were walking through the garage area, and Austin Konecki came running up to Dan and and said that, he made some T-shirts out of that, and I guess he made a pretty good chunk of change, didn't he?
He told me to guess. What do you think the net would be?
First of all, they made 2,311 T-shirts for $23.11. They said Hack Bowman on it, and the kid made.
Right.
We'll tell you when we come back.
Attention race fans, Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin now has 2022 season passes available at discount pricing. The earlier you buy, the more you save, and it makes a great gift for yourself or the motorsport enthusiast on your list. This includes over 50 days of action-packed racing, including NASCAR Cup Series, IndyCar, Moto America, and IMSA Sports Car. Don't wait. Get your 2022 Road America season discounted passes today at roadamerica.com. Road America, your national park of speed.
From racing engines to street engines, long blocks to turnkey packages, or complete custom engines, just ask and Wagner Automotive can fill your needs. All backed by many years of racing experience. These years of experience have provided reliability and performance that customers need to win races. Wagner's has been building championship-winning engines for top teams from NASCAR to short tracks in your backyard. This expertise has carried over to street engines they supply to top custom car builders. The Wagner Company, in the heart of Wisconsin, is outfitted with the state-of-the-art machinery necessary to design, manufacture, build, and test custom engines and their accessory parts. Dyno services are independently available for anyone needed to test their engine. Wagner's Company can also provide you or your company with production CNC machining or welding services. All your questions and requests are handled personally by Casey Wagner. Just give us a call at 920-394-3557 or visit our website at wagnerautomotive.com. Fall has arrived, but there's still time to get your landscaping complete before the snow flies. And PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend has everything you need with fresh mulch arriving daily. From premium hardwood mulch to hemlock and pine bark to EnviroMulch in red, gold, chocolate brown, and black colors. PMF also has a large variety of decorative stone and granite, as well as field stone, topsoil, and compost. For all your landscaping needs, visit PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 River Road in West Bend. Call 262-338-8800 or visit pmflandscape.com. Friends of racing for many years. PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend.
This is The Herd.
The winner in this is also
Colin Cowherd.
The media's terrified to criticize him because they'll get blowback. Folks, in the last 3 games, Patrick has more picks than touchdowns. His passer rating 75. He's completing 62% of his passes. In the NFL in 2021, that's a bad quarterback. And he's got a good O-line and a brilliant coach and great weapons. It's not a hot take. He's not playing well.
This is The Herd.
And the story out today.
Weekdays starting at 11 on the Big 920 and Big920.com.
Welcome back to LTN here in Phoenix, Arizona, as we're getting ready for the final race of the year that will determine the 2021 champion. Steve Phelps, who's the president of NASCAR, had a press conference this week, kind of a state of the sport type of thing. He came up with just a couple of notes that I think are worth mentioning. The first one, you know how this next year's schedule, the 22 schedule, is going to be very different than what we've seen in the past. Some tracks disappear, some tracks appeared. We're adding things, we're subtracting things. And he said that the 23 schedule isn't going to look anything at all like this coming year's schedule. So it's going to be revamped twice in 2 years, which is pretty amazing. I just can't help but think that this racing the Busch Clash in the LA Coliseum is going to be a experiment. All right, we're going to see how this whole thing works out. To me, I'm wondering about the racing. The stadium surface, the field surface, is set lower than any of the seating there, which means you can't take out the few rows or a section of the bottom to make the track wider. It isn't going to work. You'd have to cut out, you'd have to lower that whole section, which isn't going to happen. So they're going to be racing on the same size football field as they go when they go to Bowman Gray Stadium. Is that really a good idea? Well, it fills Bowman Gray up all the time because the police department is as big a part of the action there as anyone else, because you can't pass without wrecking people, and they wreck people all the time, and there's police are there constantly. It's not racing, it's a show. I guess we're going to try and make it into a show and see if there's some sort of difference by having the best drivers in the world on a football field type size track, and think it's going to be any different than it is at Bowman Gray.
Socks are the #1 most requested item in homeless shelters. Underwear is the second, shirts are third. At Bombas, socks were first, made with comfortable details for everyday wearing. Then underwear and shirts too, all designed to perfectly fit. At Bombas, every item you purchase means you're donating an essential clothing item to someone in need. One comfortable clothing item for you, one donated to someone in need. Bombas, comfort for all. Get 20% off your purchase at bombas.com/comfy.
Whether that is or not, who knows? But one of the things that really struck me from his speech when Phelps was asked about the California short track, if you remember, they were going to rip down the 2-mile track that looks exactly like Michigan, and they're going to build a half-mile there, and it's going to be the newest, greatest. Oh my God, what we really need is short tracks. And guess what? They're not. It's completely up in the air yet. If it's going to be done in time for the 23 season. So that's pretty big deal as far as I'm concerned. They tried to tout that as being one of the really great things that's coming out of it. And the other thing that jumped out at me from Phelps' press conference, he's the one that brought up Dodge. Someone said, is Dodge coming back? He says, well, I don't like to say for sure, but I can neither confirm or deny that Dodge is on its way back. It sounds like they are, and he couldn't really say it, but this would be very nice. We need another manufacturer. And in fact, he kind of left the door open still that there might be other manufacturers on the way. Oh, and they're really pissed off about Let's Go Brandon. They're making T-shirts right and left. We see them all over the place here, and they have the NASCAR logo on them, and they say, Let's Go Brandon. That's what got them going. You're not supposed to be using the NASCAR logo. You can put Let's Go Brandon on anything. As a matter of fact, an airplane was flying around the track dragging one of those signs that said Let's Go Brandon. But that when you put a NASCAR logo on a T-shirt, you'll get their reaction.
I just wish they put what was really saying on the T-shirt. I'm still waiting to find out how much money was made on the hack shirt.
Yes, the hack shirt was a big deal, and come to find out that young Mr. Bowman, by putting out hack Bowman T-shirts, a little over 2,300 of them, and the kid made a total of, Dan, tell him.
Number we heard was like $89,000.
$89,000 in profit for having hack T-shirts. Thank you, Denny. I wouldn't have made that $89,000 if you hadn't called me names for having twice the amount of wins you have.
Till you see it on a broadcast today or something like that on TV, and then people will be buying more. It's a very popular shirt. Bowman has a lot more fans than he realized, and he took advantage of something like that and made it work. And it's kind of, their shirts look really cool. They're black and purple. And
I haven't seen one yet. Denny, it's really strange. Now here, as Bowman wins last week at Martinsville, and then Hamlin, after the race, does stupid things like go nose to nose with him with his race car and all that, and tries to take away from the kids' celebration. This is Denny Hamlin's home state of Virginia, and for the second time in about when was the business with Chase Elliott? Was that about 3 or 4 years ago, Dan?
17,
so 4 years ago, that Hamlin got booed for all what was going on with Mr. Most Popular Driver Elliott. But then last week he gets out and trashes Bowman, and his home track boos him. And the kid, listen to me. That's what it sounds at the guy's home track, an amazing situation. And Hamlin finally said, you know what, the hell with it. I can play the bad guy. I don't mind. I thrive on it. It motivates me. And that's what he was talking about at his press conference the other day. He is the bad guy, and I think it's good. We need bad guys, don't we, fellas?
Well, yeah, and I mean, he was as fired up as anybody. All the four guys are there and talking about things or whatever goofy questions people ask. But Hamlin was the most intense. I mean, he had more F-bombs and swear words I've ever heard at a press conference before, and a lot of it was correct stuff. He's talking about etiquette of racing. I mean, he steered it more towards a state of the sport type thing as to, are these young guys that are coming up racing properly? Are they, do they know how to pass? Do they know how to set up a pass? Do they know how to pass someone without cleaning them out? And stuff like that. So a lot of the stuff he was talking about, I agreed with, and he was hitting the nail on the head on a lot of it, and that's what he was talking about. But
he didn't come up with money, and he did it the right way, like he said, and blah, blah, and painted himself as being a hero. Well, interesting. Is he a bad guy? Oh, hell yeah, he's the bad guy. We'll be back.
As a growing manufacturing company, we needed security solutions. We chose Bonafide because of the services they offer, pricing, and trusted reputation. But it's their outstanding service and support that convinced us we made the right choice with Bonafide.
When businesses need security, they contact Bonafide Security Solutions. From locks and alarms to safes and surveillance, we do it all. We are Bonafide. We protect what you value. For your free security survey, call us today or visit BonafideSafe.com.
Miller Sales and Service is the Midwest's #1 Bravo trailer dealer for customer service and satisfaction. Serving the area since 1939, Miller's is located on the corner of Highway 57 and K in Random Lake. As the Midwest's #1 Bravo trailer dealer, Miller's has all kinds of Bravo trailers from 8 feet to 48 feet in stock. They also have a selection of B&B utility and dump trailers, reliable and Chilton open aluminum and steel trailers. With over 50 pre-owned low-mileage cars, trucks, and SUVs, Miller's has just the vehicle you are looking for. Miller's also carries a full line of Alumacraft boats and Manitou pontoon boats, complete with Evinrude outboards. Why not buy from racers who know what racers want and need? With Miller's Sales and Service on the corner of Highway 57 and K in Random Lake. Call Jerry, Tom, or Brad Miller today at 920-994-4358. That's Miller's Sales and Service, 920-994-4358.
This is The Herd.
The winner in this is also
Colin Cowherd.
It's time to sit down with Aaron Rodgers, work on a new deal, give him a ton of guaranteed money, and trade Jordan Love. Listen, drafting is an inexact science. Belichick and Pete Carroll have a dozen players they've whipped on. Everybody makes big mistakes. The key is, don't double down on him. Jordan Love's not special.
This is The Herd.
Weekdays starting at 11 on the Big 920 and Big920.com.
And welcome back to the program. We got a chance to have a kind of a 15-minute conversation with Wisconsin's only Cup driver, Josh Bilicki, who stopped to talk to us in the garage area yesterday. Brian, for one, no surprise whatsoever. He's just a really nice kid. I mean, it's hard not to like Josh Bilicki. And yes, I have called him a backmarker on this program because that's pretty much the career he has chosen, being a backmarker. I don't even know what kind of race car driver he is. We've never seen him in a car that's capable of winning. But he was giving us some very interesting tips about some things that are coming up for this year. And one, Ed, I don't know that any of us knew about. And that for next year, we know they're going to be practice and qualifying at every track, and they're going to be able to bring full crews into the track and backup cars to every track. What we did not know is that NASCAR is going to only allow one backup car for every 2 chartered cars to come to the track next year. Isn't that interesting? What happens if you wreck both of your cars in practice? Yeah, I mean, we really don't know the answer to that question, do we, Brian? I mean, what do you do?
Yeah, and he was talking about that, because next year it sounds like Rick Ware is going to have, 2 cars, so they'll only be able to bring 1 spare car with them. I don't know if it's a parts issue that they want, or I mean, Josh made a lot of comparisons to what they're doing in the IndyCar and the IMSA world, which is, I think, what NASCAR is kind of after with this new car, be more like IMSA. A lot of those guys don't have a lot of backup stuff. You know, if they wreck a car in IndyCar or you wreck a car in IMSA, you're spending all night fixing it to get it ready for the next day so you can keep using it as a way to lower the cost is what it's looking like. So most of these teams now are multiple car teams. So this is their way of supposedly cutting costs, I guess you could say, is limiting the amount of cars they have. I mean, Josh said right now in the shop at Rick Ware Racing, he said they have approximately 60 chassis there. 60. Think about that. So now you're going to go down to their 2-car operation, 6, you know,
and new cars. All 60 of them are no good.
Yeah.
You know?
So I mean, I guess it's pretty obvious there's cost savings there. You know, whether this is going to be a realistic way of doing stuff, I don't know. But he also mentioned that these cars, they're expecting you to use this car at multiple races. So he said, like, for instance, take this past, 2-week stretch here where they were at Martinsville. NASCAR is expecting you to take the car you ran at Martinsville and then bring it to Phoenix and race it. You know, kind of same thing IndyCar and IMSA are doing. You use the same car at all these tracks, you know. That's where they're going with it. Whether it's going to work or not, I guess time will tell. But that's the plan that they're looking at to try to keep these costs down.
And as Brian just mentioned, Josh told us that this Rick Ware Motorsports is going, it's a 4-car team this year. They have 3 charters of their own, and they're renting a charter from Petty something Motorsports. Dan, it's half owned by Petty and half by somebody else, right?
With Rick Ware. It's a partnership with Rick Ware and Petty Motorsports.
Oh, all right. Well, Rick Ware does not own that. Petty does, apparently. And Petty is going to sell the charter the way
or partner with somebody else.
Yes. And so now they have 3 charters at that Rick Ware Motorsports. So they're going to sell one of the 3 that Rick Ware owns. And Josh mentioned a selling price that has still got us scratching our heads. This week, we have heard that the price of a charter is now rumored to be around $12 million. And we had heard 10 earlier this year, but here this week, the number being thrown around is 12. And we talked to Josh Balicki, and he seems to think they're going to get $15 million for the one charter that they're going to sell, which is going to make it a 2-car team. And Josh has definitely got one of the 2 cars for next year. And what also blows us away is that he said it's going to take 4 times the amount of money to get in that car next year for Josh Balicki. So can you imagine? He's been pretty good at finding sponsors, but the money he's going to have to bring in is 4 times the amount what he is this year, and he's got it already. That kid is a hell of a salesman.
And that's what I get out of that. You know, you talk to the other end of the garage where the Hendricks and the Gibbs teams are, and they're all worried what they're worried about. And you go to the other back end where Balicki and those guys are, and you see what they have to do to get here, and just the different journey it takes to be in that garage is pretty fascinating to me. And each side has its own story. You know, I mean, the story on this side is I got to come up with 4 times what I came up with to run this season. Can I go get it? You know, and just to be here, where the other guys are worried about, boy, I don't like the pieces that I'm going to get if they're going to fit right in the car, that kind of thing. It's just a big different area there, and it's really wild when you go to both ends of the garage and you see that difference.
And it's kind of cool to see how excited Josh was about next year. I mean, when you talk about these new cars and how it's supposed to lay out and how the cars are going to run and how these teams are supposed to be more competitive, you know, the Rick Ware cars are going to be more competitive next year. I mean, that's just the way it is. The way the pieces are being put together and where they're going to get their parts and the engines they have in their car. I mean, Josh was explaining that the engine that he had in the current Ford Mustang that was sitting in front of us, which is next to the Camaro that Cody Ware is driving, they don't even have an alliance this year. But next year, they are a Ford team. They are going to be a Ford team, and they're going to be getting their engines off the same shelves that you know the
Penske cars are getting them.
Cars and the Stuart Haas cars are going to be, you know, and they're going to put them in that car. And you know, I mean, he said, you know, we're probably not going to go out and win races, but they want to be in a position where they're more like Front Row Motorsports, where you're at a restrictor plate race and their car can be up. You can be just like Michael McDowell and win the Daytona 500. You know, that would be great, and that's kind of the way on paper it looks like it might be next year.
Dan, didn't we? I'm trying to remember now, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be an affiliate, or they're going to have an alliance with Stewart Haas next year, aren't they?
Right. Yeah, Stewart Haas and Yates Engines. So they'll have a Ford thing there. Speaking of that front row team, remember how their charters were supposedly going to get sold and they got pulled back? Maybe that price went up, and maybe the deals they were talking to were lower, and now all of a sudden, if they're worth this much, well, that's probably why they pulled them off the table. Don't you think? Maybe you can get more for it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And Josh did mention the other week when they were practicing at the Roval with the car that Joey Hand was driving for Rick Ware Motorsports. He said Stewart Haas people were working on that car that Joey Hand was practicing, which was a Rick Ware car. So they're definitely together. It's happening already.
I asked Josh straight out, did the one charter that you have to sell, is it going to the 45 car? Because we know the 2311 deal, they're looking for a charter for the 45 and for Kurt Busch, and he said, as far as I know, that is not.
Top-rated care, top-rated coverage. You deserve both. That's why Aurora Healthcare and Quartz are working together to take great care of you and your family. With access to 1,800 physicians, 15 hospitals, 150-plus clinics, and 70 pharmacies. Plus benefits, tools, and resources for better health. Enroll with the team you need to live well. The health insurance experts at Quartz and the trusted providers of Aurora Healthcare. Learn more at quartzplans.com.
There has never been a better time to work at Amazon. They are offering sign-on bonuses up to $3,000 and pay up to $23.50 per hour. Many jobs come with great benefits that start on your first day, and Amazon offers a variety of paths for career growth. They have flexible shifts and schedules, and you can start in as little as 7 days, so you'll be earning extra income just in time for the holidays. Go to Amazon.com/apply to get started today. Amazon is proud to be an equal opportunity employer.
Where they sold the charter. It's sold, but who got it? That's an interesting one. We'll be back.
Attention race fans, Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin now has 2022 season passes available at discount pricing. The earlier you buy, the more you save, and it makes a great gift for yourself or the motorsport enthusiast on your list. This includes over 50 days of action-packed racing, including NASCAR Cup Series, IndyCar, Moto America, and IMSA Sports Car. Don't wait. Get your 2022 Road America season discounted passes today at roadamerica.com. Road America, your national park of speed.
As a growing manufacturing company, we needed security solutions. We chose Bonafide because of the services they offer, pricing, and trusted reputation. But it's their outstanding service and support that convinced us we made the right choice with Bonafide.
When businesses need security, they contact Bonafide Security Solutions. From locks and alarms to safes and surveillance, we do it all. We are Bonafide. We protect what you value. For your free security survey, call us today or visit bonafidesafe.com.
This,
keep it on the down low here,
is the Dan Patrick Show.
Roger Goodell gets paid over $120 million the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Yes, Steve.
It's interesting, too, because I'm looking at a story from April 29th, 2020, and it's Roger Goodell is cutting his salary to zero. Somehow combined between last year and this year, it's $120-something million.
Dan Patrick. The Dan Patrick Show.
Weekday mornings after 8 on the Big 920 and Big920.com.
And welcome back to the program as we're getting ready for the Phoenix Championship race. At the press conference the other day, one of the themes, it seemed to me, coming from Chase Elliott was, yeah, I like it out here. They're doing a nice job with it, but I would really like to see it move around every year to different tracks. And when Phelps was asked about that this week, the president of NASCAR, he said that's one of the things they're talking about. So it's very possible that it's not going to stay here in Phoenix very long, although it's already been announced that next year's season will end here at Phoenix, and we will have a champion.
I think that deal with the races and all that was his way of kind of subtly saying that they're going to look at races that don't draw well. You know, they weren't real happy with Texas, what happened in their playoff races they drew, or other races. I think you're going to hold some of these tracks a little bit more accountable to make their event an event. You know, something like Road America did this year for their event. I mean, it was spectacular. They made it out of, it's a race, but they made an event out of it. They had a lot of people come. And I think what they're going to say is some races, if they're if they don't see what they want to hit a number attendance-wise, that they may move those races around. I don't think the championship race is going to move too much because of what's going on here. The setup here in Phoenix is really nice for the fans. As far as this is probably the closest track you can get to actual garage access without having garage access, and I think that's a big deal having a championship here.
Yeah, and the weather's another big thing here. Usually you don't have an issue with weather.
Exactly.
Story about what we saw in the garage yesterday. We're walking through the garage yesterday morning, and we ran into Winston Kelly, who used to be with MRN. He now runs the NASCAR Hall of Fame. And we're talking about tracks, and we're talking about things that are going on. And Winston, was talking about how great Road America was. And back in the day when there used to be a Cup race at Michigan and an Xfinity race at Road America, and he wasn't a full-time guy, he always said, I'll fill in at Road America. And then he added, maybe not in 22, but in 23, he says, me and a bunch of friends, he lives in North Carolina, mind you, want to get a motorhome together, and we want to come up there. We want to camp and stay at that race because of what he saw, what he saw over the 4th of July weekend last year. So, I mean, everybody out there in the whole, spectrum of NASCAR up there. So it's something we all could be proud of.
We have a few news items that we want to make sure everybody knows about. Very important here. Ricky Stenhouse got engaged this week. He announced on Twitter his future wife's name is Madison. I don't think I've ever seen a picture of her, so I couldn't tell you much about her. The crew chief for Noah Gragson, who fell a little short in his bid to be Xfinity champion. The guy's name is Dave Ellens. Dan, is it Ellens or Elens? I think maybe Elens. I'm not sure. He's been around for a while. He not only was with Gragson this year, he's got a couple of Xfinity championships under his belt already, 2 with William Byron and 1 with Tyler Reddick. The rumor is that he is leaving and he will be Eric Jones' crew chief next year. So that's an interesting note. Zane Smith, another kid who was trying to win a championship here, he was headed for Ganassi. It sounded like he was going to replace Kurt Busch in the number 1 car. It was a done deal. And then Ganassi sold out, and Zane Smith has nothing going for next year. Isn't that interesting? Also, Tyler Reddick's crew chief, Randall Burnett, pulling a Rogers on us. Got COVID and is going to have to miss today's race. So Tyler Reddick in his final race this year without a crew chief. And speaking of crew chiefs, we wondered where Keselowski was going to get his crew chief from. We thought he maybe would see if he could talk one of the crew chiefs from Penske to go with him over to Roush next year. And we find out it's Matt McCall, the crew chief from the number 1 car of Kurt Busch this year. He will be Keselowski's crew chief next year at Keselowski Roush, or Roush Keselowski, or whatever the hell. Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing. It's going to be Matt McCall. And Kyle Busch, poor Kyle. Last week, after coming to the line and getting into it and getting mixed up with the Keselowski and making it an exciting finish, he gets out of the car, and then in an interview, he calls Keselowski a retard. Now he's got to go to sensitivity training because you can't use the R word. It's against the rules. Oh, man. Come on. You should know better, Kyle. And while no one was paying close attention, apparently, last week with Alex Bowman's win at Martinsville, Chevrolet won the Manufacturers' Championship for the 40th time. Holy cow. That's pretty impressive, I would say. So also, the 00 team we knew was going to go away, Dan. They did mention, they announced they sold their charter, but we don't know where it went. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, they didn't say who. I mean, the speculation was that Spire team was going to buy it. Whether that's still the case or not, I'm not sure. I mean, that was what the talk was back when we kind of found out that the 00 car was going to go away. There's a lot of cars, if you think about it. This is the last, Chip Ganassi is done after this year. It'll be Trackhouse Racing, so they'll be on their way out. Brad's last ride in the Penske 2 car. There's a lot of people just moving around after this, and a lot of longtime people that were in places for quite a bit are
Ryan Newman.
Ryan Newman, yeah, and he doesn't know what he's going to do. He kind of had a little of a session after qualifying yesterday and said he wants to race, just doesn't know where, and wasn't real comfortable with the new car. So we'll see what happens with him.
It was there was some kind of a note earlier a few weeks ago that he had already talked to Rick Ware about coming over there next year. We asked Josh Bilicki, and he said, no, it's not happening. So, okay, that pretty much tells us what's going on there. So
we should probably talk about that great race yesterday for the Xfinity champion with Daniel Hendrick. And what went on to get that car to the racetrack. They had an issue with the hauler out in Texas, if you want to expound on that.
Yeah, of course, we wouldn't have probably known that, but Wisconsin's Matt Millard drives the hauler for the number 18 team of Hemrick, and they're coming across Texas, and they had a little problem, Dan.
Sounds like they hit a deer carcass and
it wiped out the airbags on the truck.
Right, so they couldn't go, and then now that's the championship car, that has to go
one
to
of the final four anyway.
Right. I mean, it kind of reminds of the Cars movie, it's why they didn't make them repave the road to Radiator Springs where they had to go on there. But to do it, it sounds like they had to get in touch with another team. Was it Roper Racing, I think it was? And there was some sprint car guy, and I wish I could find his name, that the guy was. But there's a sprint car guy that was going across country to pick up a car somewhere else that they got a hold of in the middle of the night, turned his plan around to go pick up this race car instead of a sprint car and take it to Phoenix and get there in time. And they got there in time to get some practice in.
Yep, it was quite a story all the way around for that Daniel Hemrick. By the way, Hemrick, who never won a race before, he drove the number 8 team in the Cup Series. He has been around for some time, like 190 Xfinity races. He even came to Slinger Nationals a couple of years ago and raced with us. A wonderful kid, not a bad talent, but we just wondered out loud sometimes if he had it in him, the killer instinct that it would take to be not just a winner in NASCAR, but a champion in NASCAR. He certainly answered that question last night out here as he got by Austin Cindric. We'll talk more about that and the rest of the results when we come back.
Today's NASCAR Cup Series Championship can be heard on our website, our Facebook page, and our Twitter page. Look us up at the Big 920. That coverage starts at 1. Milwaukee Admirals hockey is in Chicago. That coverage at 2:30 on the Big 920 and Big920.com.
Miller Sales and Service is the Midwest's #1 Bravo trailer dealer for customer service and satisfaction. Serving the area since 1939, Miller's is located on the corner of Highway 57 and K in Random Lake. As the Midwest's #1 Bravo trailer dealer, Miller's has all kinds of Bravo trailers from 8 feet to 48 feet in stock. They also have a selection of B&B utility and dump trailers, reliable and Chilton open aluminum and steel trailers. With over 50 pre-owned low-mileage cars, trucks, and SUVs, Miller's has just the vehicle you are looking for. Miller's also carries a full line of Alumacraft boats and Manitou pontoon boats, complete with Evinrude outboards. Why not buy from racers who know what racers want and need? With Miller's Sales and Service on the corner of Highway 57 and K in Random Lake. Call Jerry, Tom, or Brad Miller today at 920-994-4358. That's Miller's Sales and Service, 920-994-4358.
Attention race fans, Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin now has 2022 season passes available at discount pricing. The earlier you buy, the more you save, and it makes a great gift for yourself or the motorsport enthusiast on your list. This includes over 50 days of action-packed racing, including NASCAR Cup Series, IndyCar, Moto America, and IMSA Sports Car. Don't wait. Get your 2022 Road America season discounted passes today at roadamerica.com. Road America, your national park of speed.
Fall has arrived, but there's still time to get your landscaping complete before the snow flies. And PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend has everything you need with fresh mulch arriving daily. From premium hardwood mulch to hemlock and pine bark to EnviroMulch in red, gold, chocolate brown, and black colors. PMF also has a large variety of decorative stone and granite, as well as field stone, topsoil, and compost. For all your landscaping needs, visit PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 River Road in West Bend. Call 262-338-8800 or visit pmflandscape.com. Friends of racing for many years. PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend.
This is Two Pros and a Cup of Joe.
Y'all ready? The Cleveland Browns are not a good football team.
We make this point about, is Baker Mayfield the future for Cleveland? Is Baker Mayfield a franchise quarterback? You put the game in Baker Mayfield's hands to win the game, and it wasn't enough.
Two pros, LeVar Arrington, Brady Quinn, and a cup of Joe, Jonas Knox.
Weekday mornings 5 to 8 on the Big 920 and Big920.com.
Now the LTN Hour presents Dirt on the Dirt with Brian Schmidt.
Still some dirt racing going on across the country. We'll start Tuesday night in Gaffney, South Carolina at the Cherokee Speedway. They had the prelude to the World Finals for all three divisions. The 7,000 win for the dirt late models went to Dalton Wilson. 5,000 to win for the 410 wing sprint cars went to Brent Marks, and 5,000 to win for the big block modifieds went to Billy Decker. Friday night down in Yuma, Arizona at the Cocopah Speedway, they had the Gordy Rivera Memorial. For the IMCA modifieds, Ricky Thornton Jr. He hasn't driven a modified in a while. He hopped into one. Obviously, he hasn't lost a thing. Picked up the win there. And in the IMCA stock cars, that went to Zach Madrid. Greenwood, Louisiana, the Boot Hill Speedway for the USRA Modified Southern Nationals. The feature winner there was Rodney Sanders. And night number one at Charlotte, North Carolina at the dirt track at Charlotte Motor Speedway for the World Finals. The World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car feature winner was David Gravel. In the late models, it was Jonathan Davenport. And the big block modifieds went to Alex Yankowski. Saturday night down in Yuma, Arizona, on night number two of the Gordy Rivera Memorial. For the IMCA modifieds, that went to Colin Hibden. And the stock cars went to Jesse Sobbing. Next week is a big week for the IMCA cars. They'll all be making the trek over to Las Vegas for the big duel in the desert.
Yes, I will.
Yeah, you are. All right. Great.
I'm heading up there.
Yeah. So there'll be a ton of that going on along with late models next week out there. So a big race out there. Night number two in Greenwood, Nebraska at the Boot Hill Speedway for the USRA Modifieds. That went to Rodney Sanders again. And finally in Charlotte, the final night of the World Finals for the World of Outlaw Sprint Cars. Brett Marks was your feature winner, and your 2021 champion was Brad Sweet. For the World of Outlaw Morton Buildings late models, Jonathan Davenport made it a sweep, winning both features. Your 2021 champion is Brandon Shepard. Even though he didn't win a lot of races this year, he still was consistent enough to take home that championship. And then the Super Dirt Car Series Big Block Modifieds, Brett Hearn was your feature winner, and your 2021 champion was Super Matt Shepard. So that is all the racing this week on the dirt.
And it's going to be a real short run asphalt report. There was nothing going on, so we'll give you some results from what's been happening around NASCAR. The Truck Series ran Friday night. Chandler Smith won the race. Nice race. The number 18 truck won it. Ben Rhodes won the championship in the 99 truck. That's a Thor Sport truck. That's one of the trucks that Johnny Sauter drove for. And boy, Johnny was pretty mad at NASCAR the other night. He walked across the stage when he was introduced and waved to his fans and was on the screen and everything. And then he went and got into his truck. And then NASCAR came and said, since you missed driver introductions, you have to start in the back. I cannot
come
tell
to his
you.
truck. They didn't come to his truck. It was on the pace lap that he got informed.
Pace lap, they tell him. Now, Ed, you were listening to Johnny during this whole thing. He generally is not in a real good mood to start with on race day.
I can't say what he said.
He was pretty PO'd, as you might imagine. As you might imagine, he was pretty PO'd. So either way, congratulations to Ben Rhodes. And Ty, I'll tell you right now, Ty is the shock guy for Thor Sport over there, and Ty Majeski is part of that whole team with Johnny Sauter and all those guys, and they're all sharing a championship over there. Pretty cool. In the Xfinity Series, as we just mentioned, Daniel Hemrick won his first race and the championship. I have to say that it was pretty classy of Austin Cindric, who got muscled around on the last quarter of the lap to lose both the race and the championship. He could have got out and pulled a Hamlin on everybody, but he was very classy. He looked in the camera as they were talking to him here on the front stretch and said, that was a hell of a race. And the crowd absolutely loved it. They cheered for the guy for having the class he did after being so disappointed. And who gets the last last lap. Yeah, it was pretty bad, but I'm headed to take over the number 2 car in the Cup Series. So congratulations to Daniel Hendrick and Hendrick for showing some class. In the ARCA Series, they ran their last West Series race yesterday. Ty Gibbs won the race. Jesse Love passed Trevor Huddleston on the last lap, which put him into a virtual tie with Jake Drew in the points. And since Jesse Love had 2 wins and Jake Drew didn't have any wins, he won the tiebreaker and the championship. The guy that came to Slinger Speedway and won his first ever race at Slinger, 16-year-old Jesse Love, is the ARCA West champion. Congratulations to him. And something we did not understand, I think, up till this point, Daniel Hendrick said in his press conference after the race last night that in his agreement with Joe Gibbs Racing, he only got paid if he finished in the top 5. Wow. Joe, do you do that to all your drivers or just some special drivers? Interesting stuff right there, isn't it? We have time for a couple of calls here. Let's start with Paul and Racine waiting to talk to us. How you doing, Paul?
Good, Todd. How are you?
Good. Quickly.
Yeah, so a couple things. Number one, great job again this year, you guys. Thanks for all the entertainment. Number 2, you talked earlier about Denny. I think part of Denny's, what gets him fired up is you think about it. He hasn't won a championship yet. 2 of his teammates have. He came close at the track we're going to be racing at today a few years ago when he lost it, essentially lost it to Jimmy. So I think that's got him really fired up. He's very motivated to win a championship.
He is.
When he looks at some of his arch nemesis, too, like Joey Logano, he's won a championship, and he hasn't. So I think he really is very intense about it, and I think it's a shame that people are booing him because he's showing intensity and he wants to win a championship. I'm not a huge Denny Hamlin fan.
Well, some people hate him more and some love him more. He's good for the sport. We can say that. Paul, thank you very much for the call. We do appreciate it. This seems like a good time to take a break. We will be right back.
From racing engines to street engines, long blocks to turnkey packages, or complete custom engines, just ask and Wagner Automotive can fill your needs. All backed by many years of racing experience. These years of experience have provided reliability and performance that customers need to win races. Wagner's has been building championship winning engines for top teams from NASCAR to short tracks in your backyard. This expertise has carried over to street engines they supply to top custom car builders. The Wagner Company in the heart of Wisconsin is outfitted with the state-of-the-art machinery necessary to design, manufacture, build, and test custom engines and their accessory parts. Dyno services are independently available for anyone needed to test their engine. Wagner's Company can also provide you or your company with production CNC machining or welding services. All your questions and requests are handled personally by Casey Wagner. Just give us a call at 920-394-3557 or visit our website at WagnerAutomotive.com.
Today's NASCAR Cup Series Championship can be heard on our website, our Facebook page, and our Twitter page. Look us up at the Big 920. That coverage starts at 1. Milwaukee Admirals hockey is in Chicago. That coverage at 2:30 on the Big 920 and Big920.com.
Attention race fans, Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin now has 2022 season passes available at discount pricing. The earlier you buy, the more you save, and it makes a great gift for yourself or the motorsport enthusiast on your list. This includes over 50 days of action-packed racing, including NASCAR Cup Series, IndyCar, Moto America, and IMSA Sports Car. Don't wait. Get your 2022 Road America season discounted passes today at roadamerica.com. Road America, your national park of speed.
This,
keep it on the down low here,
is the Dan Patrick Show.
Baker Mayfield had this message for us in the media.
Within sports media world, it's going to be the world's falling down.
Why do you care what we think, Baker? Who cares? Or what we're going to think? Just play football. That's it. You don't get style points. And don't worry about what the media has to say. Who cares?
Dan Patrick. The Dan Patrick Show.
Weekday mornings after 8 on the Big 920 and Big920.com.
And welcome back to the program. Back to the phones we go. Bill in Waukesha waiting patiently. Hi, Bill.
Hi, morning. I have two questions for Ed. First one is the fuel that they run in NASCAR, is that a blend or of gasoline and ethanol, or is it straight one way or the other?
Straight gas, no ethanol.
No ethanol in it?
Right.
Okay. That answers that question. And the next one refers to the sequential shifting for next year's cars you mentioned in the past. And I remember sequential shifting on a motorcycle, and it was very easy to go from fourth to actually shift into first. Did they do anything to idiot-proof it? And is there an indicator on the dash to tell them what gear they're in?
I'm sure they had the safeguards put in place to make it harder for that to happen. But yes, it can happen.
Yeah,
I don't
because
think
I
there's
hate to
anything
see
on the dash to tell them what gear they're in.
hand grenade a engine and drivetrain at the worst possible moment.
What was that?
I'd hate to see somebody hand grenade an engine and transmission or a transaxle at the worst possible moment, shifting from fourth to first.
Yeah, it would be exciting.
It would. We appreciate the call, Bill. Thank you very much for listening. Last night was the Southeast Wisconsin Short Track Hall of Fame banquet and induction ceremony up in Hartford. Congratulations! Last year, because of COVID, naturally, because that's the excuse for everything, was canceled and pushed back to this year. So there were, instead of 5 being inducted, there were 10 inducted into the Hall of Fame. Last year's inductees were Al Atkinson, Bill Kogis, Larry Richards, Roger Lee, and the late Al Schill Jr. They were all inducted last night, along with this year's inductees, Tim Cox, Chico Riedner, Dale Prunty, Mike Weber, and Billy Hoffman. Congratulations to all 10 and their families, because it's really more than just a singular event. All the families get to celebrate in that, and congratulations to everybody involved. It's certainly a big day for everybody, and congratulations to the Hall of Fame too. They did what they had to do, and it was a lot inducted into one night, but it happened last night. So congratulations to all involved. All right, gentlemen, we already talked about the fact that the only one we picked for sure among the 4 of us to be in the Final Four was the 5 car of Kyle Larson. Who we picking to win today? And I would say then, if we're going to pick one of the Final Four, that would be the champion. Listen, I'm not silly. I think it's going to be the 5 car. He's shown he's the fastest. He's starting up front. He's got position right from the get-go. It'd be kind of hard to pick against Kyle Larson. And if you want to agree with me, you can. If you don't, well, who would it be?
I think Toyota's on a sweep for the weekend.
Which Toyota?
19.
Ed 19, huh? All right, Dano?
I'm going to agree with you. I just can't see that 5 car thrown away this whole season in one race. They're too good for that.
Yeah. Brian?
Yep, I third that. I mean, that's what we came here to see, man. We came here to see what a complete dominated seasons look like for him. You know, last year he dominated everything there was to be on the dirt. This year, I mean, look at what he could accomplish today. Knoxville Nationals, Prairie Dirt Classic, the Kings Royal, a Cup championship. My goodness, I mean, what more could you ask for a guy? So that would be so sweet to see, and I think that's what a good chunk of the grandstand is going to be looking for too.
I believe you're right about that. So my question, and it's kind of late in the program to ask this because I'm sure callers would have an opinion about it, but do you think that NASCAR is happy for him, or do you think NASCAR just has got him there and, oh my God, here we tried kicking him out and he comes back and look at how good he is? Is it embarrassing for NASCAR to have him come back after being kicked out for a year?
I don't think so. I think that whole deal is water under the bridge. I think that's long gone, and people just keep bringing it up. And I think we've kind of passed that turning that corner, and we're moving on. And I think he's done wonders for NASCAR. When he went out in that dirt world and won all those races, there was a big disconnect between the short track, dirt track fans and NASCAR fans. I used to go to the Prelude for the Eldora people didn't like the Prelude because all the NASCAR people are here. They'd be all happy when they all left. There's more of cross promotion now. There's more people. I saw more NASCAR shirts at dirt track races this year, and I've seen more dirt track shirts at NASCAR races because of Kyle Larson.
Yeah, I would agree. And they talked to Kyle about that on Thursday, and he said the same thing, and he doesn't really want to be the patriarch for that, but he goes, if I can get a couple people to show up at a dirt race and tell them to watch me race tomorrow on a NASCAR, he says that's fans we've gained. And I agree. I saw a lot of his sprint car T-shirts out and about all over the place this weekend, and it's really cool to see. And they look like, people that maybe weren't NASCAR fans before, but they're bringing it to them. So I think NASCAR as a company looked at that now and is like, hey, we got to embrace this, and this guy really helped.
Turns out it was a blessing for that guy to have gotten fired and come with all the winning he did and to come back into a good car rather than that Ganassi thing he was in for those years and trying to win races in a car that's nearly impossible to win in. Now we can see the real Kyle Larson. So today is Kyle Larson Day. Hey, thanks for tuning in. We do appreciate it. Gentlemen, we're off to the races. How great is that, huh? It's pretty fun. Be a nice day for it. Then be sure to tune in. Channel 4, streamed on Peacock, and you can write on the Big 920's website or Twitter. You'll be able to catch today's event from Phoenix. For all of us, we want you to remember that real race cars have doors, even if they do climb in through the windows. Let's Talk NASCAR is produced and directed by Dangerous Dan Margetta, our in-house engineer, website coordinator, king of the knobs, and host of his own program, Matt Hangover Losi. For all of us, we appreciate you've been listening, and we'll see you next week, everybody.
This program has come to you live from multiple locations via Skype. Any and all comments expressed on this show do not necessarily express the opinions of this station, its employees, or advertisers. Your comments are always welcome at mail@ltnradionetwork.com. Find us at facebook.com/LTN Radio Network. And thank you for your support since 1985. Tune in again next Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Central Time for the LTN Hour on the LTN Radio Network.
Unexpected trouble? CashNet USA can take the stress out of borrowing emergency funds. Our fast, secure application process makes it easy to apply online 24/7. Plus, CashNet USA offers same-day funding if approved before 10:30 a.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday. Additional terms may apply. Visit CashNetUSA.com or tap the banner to apply today.